Uh, well, that was interesting. I forgot I needed to use the mouse pad. All right, so my battery went dead during the intro, so I'm going to put this over there and keep my hand on the mouse pad. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Geek and I podcast, Federation Friday. We are back this week after a quick journey. And damn it, I forget. I come up with these ideas every week, and I forget. I wanted to have a clip of Forrest Gump. Just got back from a trip from Alabama. Yeah, so we were in Alabama. Had to go pick up a cat and a dog. And we are back, Federation Friday. This is episode 14, 13? What did I type? What did I type in the description here?
Oh, God, we're doing numbers.
Sorry, yeah, I told you no promises. It's 14. Episode 14. This is, damn it. Balance of Terror.
Personal favorite of mine.
Is it? Yeah. I never watched this one before. And I watched it at work, and it inspired me to actually do something. I've been playing around with AI, so I wanted to see if I could create a new theme song for the program. And I have 3 contestants, and I want you guys to tell me what you think. So this is contestant number 1. I figured, okay, Star Trek is old. I'm old. So let's go back to an old time. I think this one is 1950s sounding. So let me know if you can hear it. Raise your hand if you can hear it when I start playing. That way I know it's coming through because, you know, my system is all screwy. So here's our first one. It actually changed the lyrics when I typed in the theme from Federation Friday to a new podcast name called Beam Me Up Potty, which kind of has a little weird annotation at our age. So this is Beam Me Up Potty from the 1950s.
Ship's log says it's Friday night. Gonna tune in to the podcast light. Getting ready for that endless flight, where Kirk and Spock are taking their fight.
It's kind of
I like it.
Kind of what's his name? Died on the plane with everybody else. Buddy Holly.
I can see it's got a little rockabilly to it. Sure.
Beam me up tonight, what a sight. Enterprise takes us through the night. Takes us set for fun in this life, with a starship crew that's ooh so tight.
Taking it all the way to number 1.
Yes. We just need Wolfman Jack in here somewhere.
Zipping past those astro walls, in a galaxy where heroes' feet don't fall.
All right, so that's the 1950s version. And then we move up.
It's got a good beat. It's easy to dance to. I would give it an 8. Yeah.
An 8, okay. Deb?
It's a toe tapper.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move up a decade to the 1960s and see what Beam Me Up Potty has now. Or maybe this one's 50s. Changed it to Tuesday for some reason.
Recorded on a ship way up in space. Beam me up, potty's the best place. Oh, we love the 6 from 6 to 6.
Didn't they play this in that thing you do?
Cool tricks.
Huh?
Didn't they play this in that thing you do?
Every tale is held. Lead me up, body to a starry dream.
Okay. It's on par with the other one.
Now and set your phasers high to new episodes and tech we all spy.
This is Casey Kasem.
Captain's log entries we start to explore. Each warp speed session leaves us wanting more. Oh, the mysteries in the galaxy so wide. We break down the stories and their tide. Chekhov and Sulu in their duty line. Tales of heroics that are oh so fine. Bones and Scotty with their quirky charms. In our podcast we embrace them in our arms. We debate and laugh through the tempo waves. Give our ratings and the sound of phaser saves. Each episode brings a twist and a shout. Come aboard now, there's no need to doubt.
All right, so that's the 19. Would you say that's 50s still or 60s?
I think that has kind of a Beach Boys kind of feel to it. I would go more early 60s.
Early 60s. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this one here is this one's my favorite. It is Federation Funk. So.
Riding on that Enterprise, Kirk at the helm. Oh, yeah. Sparks logic cool as ice. McCoy overwhelmed. Be myself, Scotty. Let's explore the unknown. Every Friday night, we're in a Star Trek zone. Federation Friday. Let's review the show. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Let's go with the flow.
I think we have a winner.
Discussing every mission, revisiting the past. Through the final frontier where no man's gone before. Phases set to stun. We're thirsty for more till the Romulans come and the Klingons roar. We're trekkers, my friends, forever explore.
That's impressive.
Through the final frontier where no
So that one is
Federation Funk. I think it's the most cohesive lyric-wise too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They're not doing a lot of Todd Pettengill reaches to get things to rhyme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one, the other two were written by a program called Suno. I think I sent you the link to that, Deb.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? Why don't I combine these? So the Federation Funk, I designed it on ChatGPT or chat one with the letters, and then I brought
Wow,
the
we are
lyrics.
really going to bring in the hip crowd with those kind of descriptions.
Yeah,
The 25 and under crowd are just going to flock to this. The chat one with the numbers and the letter.
yeah, because I get them all backwards. So it was written by ChatGPT, and then I brought it into Suno, told it what style, used these lyrics, and that's what it came up with.
I like that one a lot.
Now, if I had a video editor to put that together for me into a video,
I'm working on something. So I'm trying to get video editing capability for work for training videos. So
okay.
yeah, still working out the budget on it. But yeah.
Well, I've done that for the whole price of $0. So
In this economy too. Amazing.
yeah, Bidenomics. Can you believe it?
Mm.
So let's head on into the final frontier.
riding on that Enterprise, Kirk at the helm. Oh, yeah.
I like the little ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, if we can only work no math into the lyrics, that would be great. No, it's good. Very good.
All right, so we're beaming over into Balance of Terror. Initial thoughts. Deb, have you seen this one before? I assume you have.
Yeah, I have. It's probably one of my personal favorites. It really reminds me of like the old war movies, like Between Two Subs. You know,
Yep.
they're hiding from each other, or they're playing dead, or in one particular scene, both are silent in it, just like the subs, they're sitting in the dark with minimal power and don't make a noise, and then all of a sudden a pipe bursts and it makes all kinds of noise, and oh my god, they found us. But yeah, it just reminds me of a good submarine war movie.
Very, very Hunt for Red October-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the script is very much influenced from a 1950s film called The Enemy Below, which parallels this story uncomfortably close at times. But I agree. I think to me, this is where we see this series standing on its own two legs. It's got its footing in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's for lack of a better term, it's firing on all thrusters. We get a really great adversary up front. We have some human drama with the wedding. We see the pressures of command on Kirk. And we get to see a good portion of the show from the enemy vessel's interior. To see that these people are, even though they're the bad guys, they have their motivations, they have their reasons, and they're not just, twirling their mustaches and snickering into the camera. I love it. It works on so many levels, and it's probably in my top 3.
And when was the first time you saw it? Do you remember sitting back and watching this for the first time, or?
Me, probably when I was between 5 and 7. And what's amazing is this one stuck with me because it's just a great action story too. And I think that was that I enjoyed it as a kid. And as I got older and started to see more of the nuances that were going on, it just grew on me more and more with each viewing. Between this and the Doomsday Machine, if I'm bored, I'll probably pop in, start playing one of these, just because it holds my attention still.
And when was the first time you watched it, Deb?
Well, I'm pretty sure it was probably during reruns because I was only like 4 or 5 when this originally came out. Although I do swear some episodes I remember watching with my brother, and that was probably when I was really, really young. But yeah, I remember watching this on reruns, and of course, my family, if there was a war movie on at the theaters, we went to see it, especially if it was a John Wayne movie. But yeah, it was probably on reruns, so probably in the mid 70s, probably when they started doing the rerun, the very late night reruns. Yeah.
So it opens with the you mentioned it before, Marty. It opens with a wedding, and that was something that I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. They can really humanize these characters, because they're still on the ship and they're still falling in love and deciding to get married. And the cool thing is that Kirk, being a ship's captain, can marry these people, and he actually mentions the long maritime traditions.
which comes up in later incarnations of Star Trek when that is taken almost verbatim when Keiko and Miles O'Brien got married. The whole beginning of the ceremony was almost identical.
Yeah.
And what I think is really interesting here too is for a guy who was obsessed with God but didn't believe in him, they made sure that the Enterprise had a chapel. And this is probably one of the few times that they even allude to outside the Bajorans of religious beliefs in the future.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say that, this is one time that I was wondering what the heck is going on with Scotty's hair.
Yeah, he's got a flip thing going there. And he was giving the bride away. You think he would have run a comb through that?
Looks like he did.
And I think they actually reused this chapel in the Tholian Web when they think Kirk is dead and Spock is addressing the crew.
Oh, at a funeral?
It's like a memorial service because he phased over into the alternate universe with the Defiant, and they assume he's lost. So McCoy convinces him to have a small memorial service. And I believe it's the same exact set.
So we get a message from, I guess, the bridge that a couple of outposts have been destroyed along the neutral zone. And that's the first time we ever hear the phrase neutral zone, is it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And is there in these times, is there a Klingon neutral zone?
Not yet, because we haven't even had Klingons yet, if I recall, right? We haven't come across any Klingons yet. So down the line, I know it's definitely mentioned in, I think, Errand of Mercy, and I think Trouble with Tribbles, it does get mentioned. But I think the neutral zone was established after Errand of Mercy. Yeah, I think that's the one.
And now this is a neutral zone that runs along Romulan space. It's not just a ball like in Star Trek II, right?
Yeah, think of it like this. Build that zone. It seems to be like a wall in space that no one can either go over or fly under in three-dimensional space. So I guess the best way to look at it is if you took a garbage bag and half inflated it, everything inside the garbage bag, as regular as it is, would be the neutral zone.
So all the Trump supporters are in that bag.
They're garbage aliens. All right, so Scotty fixed his hair in the hallway a little bit. And what was I the only one who thought that she was being attacked by Tribble on her head?
To me, she's like Cruella de Vil.
Also, they had just used the dress uniforms like 2 episodes ago. We couldn't break them out.
Now, I know you said you're on painkillers, so I don't know what production order. Are we in like normal production order now? So,
yeah, I think we're merged back into the sacred timeline. Let's put it that way.
All right, so we're marrying what's her name? Angela Martine, right?
And Tomlinson, yeah.
And there's an alert, and we get the opening credits, Outpost 4 is now under attack. So there's been, it was 2, 3, and 4, right? 3 went silent.
And these are just outposts on asteroids, which I kind of question, because let's say there was an emergency and you had to leave that area. How do you evacuate an asteroid? You can't fly an asteroid anywhere. It seems to me like they're almost like sitting targets.
And do asteroids float through space? I mean, they're never in the same place twice, right?
That's true, but I just assume they must have had long anchors down to a planet somewhere, holding them relatively stable. Yeah, that was a weird one.
And then this guy at the helm, he's not very I don't know, what's the phrase?
Stable.
Okay, yeah, all right, mentally stable. That could do it. He's not a very nice person to others.
How did this guy graduate the academy?
Well, my question is why is it always the person sitting in that seat that's the asshole? I mean, 2 or 3 times now, every person that sat in that seat were assholes.
That's true. We had the guy who had the breakdown during the Corbomite maneuver. Now we have this guy. I'm trying to think who else. Well, Gary
Wasn't
Mitchell.
it? Yeah. It's like something about that seat.
Until Chekhov came along, yeah. And interesting that this effect was not remastered.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's weird seeing this. I mean, this looks like it could be the back of a 60s cereal box.
Commander Matt Mason, this is on par with the view screen that was on my old Mego Star Trek bridge. You know, the one with the spinning transporter. This could have used some improvement. And notice it's not Remus. It's Romulus and Rami.
But didn't one of the guys? I thought somebody had said Romulus and Remus when they were
talking.
Well,
I was saying, I think this is a mistake. I think the script may have changed after it went to the art department, but it would have been nice had they fixed it. And there are the pyramid-shaped asteroids right across the. That looks like neutral zone. I mean, we just a rare swing and a miss for the remastered.
Yeah, that kind of looks like 7 dunce caps. All right, these are the 7 places we put the idiots.
They would never dare pass through our idiot field. So, yeah.
And you'd have to wonder why they don't have, like, the Romulan Empire doesn't have outposts along the other side, to match.
Yeah. Or they did, and we just didn't know about it. That's the thing I love about the Romulans. You just never know.
Here's Kirk after finishing up a margarita.
Damn limes.
So nobody's ever seen a Romulan yet. And I guess that's...
Kirk
that's
has it look like, did I take my pill today? Oh, speaking of margaritas, look at the look on Spock's face. Here we go.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to fall asleep. He's got a lazy eye.
You know what it is? You hunched over that viewer and you start getting drowsy. Next thing you know, your head goes down. So, putting a question out here. Styles, our navigator du jour. Does he tie into Captain Styles from Star Trek 3? I've read theories that it's supposed to be the same character. I don't particularly buy that.
And Styles from 3 was on the...
If he tries to get away with warp drive, he's in for a shock. Captain of the Excelsior.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
So there's other things that say he's a relative to this guy who, once he got transferred off the Enterprise, kind of killed his career. And this Styles has never really forgiven Kirk for that. That's why he was so eager to catch him in Star Trek 3. So
That's an interesting fan theory.
yeah, I could buy that one. I could buy that one.
Yeah.
This guy is just an insufferable asshole.
Yeah, I did not like him at all. And I guess that was the point.
Yeah. And I think in one of the books I read takes place shortly after the events of this. The first thing that Kirk does is say, I want him off my bridge. Transfer him out. He should not be here.
And I was just going to say that goes with what I was just thinking. He looks like George Lazenby, where they said, transfer him out of here. I don't want him in my James Bond movies.
George, you really do have all the time in the world now. We won't be needing your services. That was my wedding song. Now, what I find interesting through this whole episode, we don't have a push-button phaser system anymore. We have a push button that must blink a light in the phaser control room that says, actually fire the phasers. I think it's the only part to me that didn't age well. But for dramatic purposes, I guess they were thinking like a Navy ship where the command goes down to the weapons room. And yeah. So again, no real issue with that. And it does add to the drama at the end. So I'll overlook it.
Well, she thinks he's I don't know, backing down, and he knows that this is where I knew he wasn't making it. Let's just say that.
What? Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I would have been like, that's a little too foreshadowy for me.
It was really nice, though. She got down to her position in an emergency, but had time to take the feathers out of her hair.
So they've been attacked, and there is their deflector shield is down, and this is a tough episode to kind of clip scenes of space when one of the ships is invisible.
We would have believed you.
You could have photoshopped it in.
Yeah.
There's the bird of prey.
It's like my bird of prey tattoo, right?
Yeah. Just had it finished.
Right. So there's Hansen. Poor Hansen. So John, being a lover of the WPIX evening shows, do you know where we've seen Hansen before? Because as many times as I've seen this episode, I only found out about 2 years ago.
Oh, well, then I have no idea.
Okay. I'll give you a hint. He used to play poker. And he had a nickname.
Is he on Odd Couple?
Yeah, he is on Odd Couple. That is the one and only Speed from Odd Couple.
Is it really?
Yep.
So he's relaying the story to Kirk that it was the ship had amazing power, and then it just disappeared, and there's the first time we get to see the Romulan ship.
So interesting enough, I only found this out recently too, was there was a line that was cut out, which would have supported Styles' belief that there were spies on board, that the Romulans had stolen plans for a Federation ship, hence the overall design and similarity to the Federation with the rounded ship and the nacelles up. Very interesting that it has nacelles, since apparently it doesn't have a warp drive.
Do they use them as thrusters?
They may use them for atmospheric landing, but from my understanding is that ship only works on impulse, which raises the question, assuming it left from Romulus, how close is it to the edge of the neutral zone?
So they don't have warp capability?
This particular ship didn't. Yeah, that's why the whole thing, the Enterprise doesn't really engage warp that much in this episode, if I recall, except I think when they come around the side of the comet to catch him.
Well, don't they do it backwards?
Yeah, they do go in reverse.
Yeah, how does reverse warp work? I kind of
You go forward in time.
yeah, because really the engines are meant to go one way. What did the nacelles flip around the opposite direction and pull it that way? Reverse warp never made any sense to me. But again, you're in space floating. You just have to do this, and you're going in the opposite direction.
Well, I mean, I don't. If this big orange ball's coming at you, can't you just go
To the left or to the right of it?
you just go? Whoop.
Well, when they fire a Cheeto that size, like, you know, it looks like a cheese ball to me. I have to say, this is a total improvement. I love the effect on this now, and I love the concept of a weapon that can do what this thing does.
What did he see? That's why I wish I could see the original. I'd like to see what this looked like. What did it look like?
A wavy blob.
Is that it? Yeah?
Yeah, a wavy orangey kind of blob. Yeah, this was very cool. And I'll tell you, watching this again, so much of Wrath of Khan had to have been inspired by this episode for the battle in the Mutara Nebula. With the tactics, with the, like you said before, Deb, the submarine type fighting. It kind of brought me back to Wrath of Khan when I was watching this. In fact, Reliant, one of the complaints when they were building it was that originally the nacelles were up on Reliant and the roll bar was underneath. And they were going back and forth that they thought it looked too much like this. And long story short, when it went to the producer's desk, you know, this is Star Trek lore, he looked at it upside down and put his signature on the wrong end. And that's why we got the nacelles facing down, which I think worked better because it was easier to tell them apart in a battle anyway.
Now, isn't there a ship that has the nacelles underneath, or is that just the new cartoon?
Well, the Cerritos has the nacelles underneath. They've been doing more, especially like in the expanded universe and like on the online games and stuff. There's a lot more that have the nacelles down. Now you can have 2 nacelles, 4 nacelles, 8 nacelles. You can have a ship just composed of nacelles if you want to. Yeah, there's really no logic to that. I mean, what they can't go straight out. I mean, to me, that's the most easy design.
Well, I don't think it makes a difference. There's like no gravity. I guess
Right, or up and
I don't know,
down.
if you're going warp speed, would there be some kind of inertial pressure?
There'd be structural pressure, but that's what the inertial dampening field is supposed to prevent.
What about aerodynamics? Does that have any place in space?
No, because in space, no. But if it was atmospheric, I mean, look at a lot of the planes that we have now. The wings are in a more down formation than they are in an up formation. I don't know. I think it looks cooler up because it's really, and hence the name bird of prey. When a bird is coming in to attack its prey, the wings are always up and the talons are down. So the Romulan bird of prey, that's what it's supposed to represent. The wings up like an attacking bird. Until you get the Klingon one, which can flap,
Yeah, now I was just going to say, when do we see a Klingon bird of prey before the movies?
No.
So that's the first time we see a Klingon bird of prey.
Yeah. And
they're all battle cruisers.
Yeah, and that's a warp-capable craft with 0 nacelles. Wait, wasn't he an old comic from the 60s? No, that's Zero Mostel. Sorry. Yeah, that ship's got 0 nacelles. I'm waiting for it. Where's my rim shot here?
Hold on. I'm still stuck. I'm stuck on my music. See.
Close enough. I'll take it. A win's a win. Yeah, so when it comes to the rules of warp flight and engineering, I don't think too much into it.
Yeah, it's in space, so nobody can hear you complain.
Yeah. Oh, the whole inside of the ship is nacelles. We just don't like the way they look on the outside. So, oh yeah, you got a perfect shot of the ship right there.
Yeah, there it is. That's high def. This was This is one of the remastered screen images.
But I thought it was very cool that this plasma weapon would change the molecular structure of whatever it hits.
Yeah. So now they're 1 through 4 are gone, right? So we're going up the river towards
yes.
Was it 11? Was there 11 there?
There were like
11.
I think there were at least 9.
So now he's going all conspiracy theorist that there's people infiltrating Starfleet aboard the ship. Now, how does Spock? I mean, are they sending a signal back?
Or that's a good question.
Does he just tune in and like somebody can watch your Ring camera.
Yeah, he's basically hacking into their Ring camera is essentially what they're doing. And he even had it set for dramatic. He's like, wait, I got the back of his head. Hold on. Okay. Wait, let me cue up a music cue here. All right, let's go. And yes, we get the reveal, and lo and behold, lordy, they look like the Vulcans. "50-year-old spoiler alert."
Do they mention that? Oh no, and that's a good point. Is that what Spock says about the Romulans? Do they confirm that they're the offshoot of a Vulcan before their emotional suppression?
I think what he says is something along the line of, if they are an offshoot of my Vulcan blood, and I think this likely, I think that's as much as a confirmation you will get. And that's kind of been explored in the novels as well, that time period when after the Vulcan Enlightenment, when Vulcans left en masse to find colonies that those who didn't want to follow the way of logic would be able to live that way. So yeah. Now, and luckily everyone still had a smooth forehead back in this day. We didn't get the lumpy headed Romulans yet.
And
those were the northern ones, I think, right?
Are there lumpy Romulans?
In TNG, that's all you had was lumpy Romulans. They had a pronounced bridge, like right here, like a V-shaped bridge.
Yeah, I can't really remember. All I can see is Denise Crosby.
Yeah, she had. Who didn't have any? Yeah,
who didn't have that? That's the only Romulan I can actually. Oh wait, no. No, I think I'm. Yeah.
Remember when Picard and Data disguised themselves?
Yeah, basically put on a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
Well, in Nemesis, I don't think he had bumps.
Who?
Tom.
Well, Tom Hardy was a
Picard clone.
He was a Picard clone.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind.
Yeah, we all kind of put that one out of.
I like it because it's Tom Hardy, but that's just me.
That's the Last Jedi of Star Trek.
How do you make Star Trek 5 look damn good? I mean,
Star Trek 8. Is that 8? Or is that 9?
6, 7.
Math.
No,
sorry.
First Contact is 8, right? Because we had Generations, then we had First Contact, then we had Insurrection, and then Nemesis.
Yeah. So 10?
And I'm Painkillers. All right, yeah.
So this guy in the asshole chair, I mean, he keeps saying some really racist things to Spock, and everybody's sitting there going,
dude,
except for Sulu. Sulu doesn't care because
Sulu's like, I'm not getting involved. Involved. Because this is going to be an HR thing, and I don't want my name on anything official.
Scotty's in the back going, "Ay, crap, not again."
Yeah, they're all kind of giving him the stink eye.
Yeah, the fact that Kirk didn't say you're relieved and get me somebody else up here. Was this guy the best navigator? Somehow I doubt it. He just happened to draw a shift when this was going on.
Well, hell, he had Uhura navigating there for a little bit. She could have taken over.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite part. This is my I had to watch this. I rewatched this 3 times because what Kirk does on oh yes we did mention the Enemy Below movie earlier on. Great point. Great catch on that.
And by the way, guys, great movie. I'd seriously advise you, if you don't venture outside of science fiction a lot, it's a really great movie. Check it out. And
Nilo Snook says one of my favorite episodes. Yeah, this is one of the top so far. On my first journey, through Star Trek. So this I loved about Kirk is he's basically talking, and then he walks around and he's like, "Listen, bub, pay attention to your controls before anything else happens."
And what I love, he walks by, doesn't even look. There's buttons all over that thing. I hope he didn't fire off an escape pod.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is, the original, he walks by,
Nice.
sets off the red alert, but yeah, this is a really quick, cool move, and I thought I'd seen him do this before.
Yes, he's done something like it before. I just don't remember what episode.
Yeah, I can't place it either. What where did I can't place where I saw it, but I think that's a little, to me, that's the Kirk maneuver. It's like, pay attention to your station. And then he just goes full out and chews him out. So now we're following the let's see, which way the wing's going on that. He's going away from us, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we're turning left, John. Yes.
Well, there is no left in space. He could be upside down. He could be turning right.
So he took a page out of Han Solo's drifting leisurely to the left to avoid, capture. Yeah. He knows a few moves too.
Yeah. Needs an alignment.
Yeah.
Nilo, or is it Nello? Nello's Nook says this episode tastefully addresses racial prejudice with an emotionally satisfying conclusion. Yes,
100%.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you probably didn't see in the late 60s
on primetime television. Yeah, no, 100%. You never saw that.
Yeah.
There's the beauty shot.
So because they're following slowly, they think what would the reflection be coming off of?
Could be a side effect of the cloak. You know, it's using a lot of power. So I think that even in modern Trek, when a ship is cloaked, there's sometimes issues with the range and power on the sensors. I think it's interesting here too, going back to the enemy below. There's no chairs. There's no command structure here. There's essentially a pipe with viewers as a replacement for a periscope. Kind of really reinforcing that submarine feeling to it. We don't see any windows anywhere in this design. And interesting note, the Romulan helmets make their first appearance here, which I love. And the reason they did the helmets, they were cheaper and faster than doing ears for everyone who had to appear on the Romulan ship.
And haircuts.
And well, those bowl cuts will set you back. Yeah. Who knew Mo Howard would have such an impact into the 22nd century? 23rd.
And Mark Lenard was awesome.
Mark Lenard was a great actor. I've seen a lot of stuff he's done outside of Star Trek, and he was great in all of it. I especially loved him in the Planet of the Apes TV show. See, this is what I like about the Romulans. No HR bullshit. Immediately, you're reduced to step in rank, return to post. Like, there's no grievance committee. There's no verbal, written, final warning. Just, yeah.
And you're working through lunch.
And you're working through. No pizza for you, Gary. And this was the first time we kind of get a sense of world building through these small scenes on the Romulan ship with the old Centurion and how everything works. And you get that Romanesque Roman Empire kind of feel, like when the Centurion's telling him he comes from a powerful family. And I just loved it that they were able to take something like, you know, ancient Rome, bring it into a sci-fi show and kind of transplant it over to another species and give it its own little twist. I thought that was genius.
Yeah, and I like there's just, I don't know, how do I put it? They just it didn't seem like they were winging it. You know, it's like they knew, you know, they had their notes in the section next to the script that said, you know, this is he is, you know, like you were saying, Romanesque, and he looks forward to conflict and battle.
Yeah. And even the term praetor was a Romulan, was a Roman term for a head of an army or a head of a division.
And then I guess, I don't know, is that his maid or?
You know, again, going back to Rome.
Enough said.
It was a Roman tradition that generals would often take their teachers or their mentors with them on campaigns. So I take it that this is just a old soldier who's been brought along for one last ride and seems incredibly loyal to the Romulan Commander.
So they beamed aboard, or did they beam it aboard? I guess they beamed it aboard, right?
Yeah, I would guess so.
The debris from Outpost 4, and they're in a meeting, and this is where Spock holds up the piece of adamantium, I guess, or
And he
is it?
some fictional super composite?
Yeah, that.
I forget what he called it. Yeah, the hardest known substance to Federation science, and it crumbles. Now, imagine what a weapon like that would do to a starship. Even if it gets hit and survives, when it attempts to make a maneuver, remember we were talking before about structural integrity,
Mm-hmm.
it would crumble. It would
Yeah.
crumble under the stress of even trying to make a turn.
It would collapse like my plastic Adirondack chairs after a summer in the Texas sun.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of. What I was like, I've sat in that chair in one September. I know I have.
I'm going to admit this. Pool chemicals, right? The chlorine. But so I leave them out. Sometimes they're out there 2 and 3 years. And before I go to pick them up and, they get brittle, I reenact that scene every time I pick them up. I go, hardest substance known to our science, and I break it. And no one understands what I'm doing. But it gives me a little internal laugh. Then I got to pick up all the broken pieces so the dog don't eat it. But
And we get a warning. And then how does this guy know about Romulans if we've never met them before? How does he know? Did he have a confrontation with them one time?
his family did. He says it earlier in the episode that during the first Earth Romulan War, there was a Styles in the service too. And I think that was, and must be just a story since we haven't seen one ever.
Yeah. Right. And everybody in his family died, and yet somehow here he is.
Mm-hmm. I was an orphan. Yeah, okay. An angry orphan. And then Spock shocks the room. And luckily, McCoy is there to be the calming voice of reason, as he so often is in these episodes. He looks like he's in mid-stroke in this screen.
He sat on the Adirondack chair. So he basically, well, from what I gather, is McCoy wants to try and talk to them.
His argument is you're going to attack a people we haven't even seen face to face. It's been 100 years since we've had any contact with them. Maybe this is just a big misunderstanding. I don't know how they could take, 7 outposts or 9 outposts on asteroids as a misunderstanding, but okay, Bones.
Yeah, we only wanted to destroy 5 of them.
Yeah. Those were outposts? Oh, all right.
So this is where he mentions that the Vulcans may be an offshoot, or the Romulans may be an offshoot, and this is where he says, "Well, you know what? If they're the suppressed emotional people that I think they are, we better step up and take care of business, because they'll come and get us."
Yeah, I mean, Spock's well aware of his planet's history and his people's history, and he's right on the money. The old Vulcan hello. Oh, I can't believe I quoted that show. Sorry.
So there just happens to be a comet passing by.
And a book.
Careful, Icarus.
Is he having
Don't-
Spock sign his yearbook? Why is there a book on the table?
Well, I was trying to figure out what the book was supposed to be because he hands it to Spock and Spock just kind of pushes it away.
Well,
Like,
I
Well,
have
I
a
think-
suspicion it was the Big Book of Comets.
Yeah, yeah.
oh, okay.
It was the Rand McNally Comet edition. Tell me
Time
what
Life presents Comets. Yeah, don't know what the book says, but yeah, he hands Spock a book.
Well, I think we know what comet it is, and Kirk wants to know what it's made out of, and it's listed in the book, but of course Spock already knows.
I think if you zoom in, it says everything you wanted to know about Romulans, but were afraid to ask. Okay. And now we get a science lesson.
So this is basically the Uhura Star Trek 6. Well, the thing's got to have a tailpipe.
Yeah. Does anyone else find the irony that this statement is coming out of the mouth of a man who tried to be invisible behind a wire grid wall? I don't think he's got a grasp on how invisibility works.
And I'm guessing that is a new updated effect,
Yeah.
because that actually looks
Like a comet.
like a comet. Yeah, something that's faked by NASA.
Mm.
And then we're all at the what is that, the peep show, and
Yeah, the peep show.
we're down to our last few tokens.
Clink,
So
clink,
we're-
clink, clink.
We're all gathering around the same screen.
Guys, your burrito will be warm in 5 seconds. You stop staring into it.
It'll cook faster if you don't watch it.
You know what's amazing is that all these guys whose brains don't seem all that important are wearing helmets, and the two senior guys are not wearing helmets. That maybe we could have given a slightly different design helmet so we could see the ears. Interesting. They wear the sash just like the Klingons do.
And that's the red
The
portion.
pauldron, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, purple associated with the Roman Empire.
And now he's figured out that somebody's following them through the comet. And they have escape maneuver 1. Out of how many, I don't know, but this is the first one in the book. Maybe that's what was. Maybe that's. Maybe that was in the book that Spock pushed away. Yeah, we don't need to know. They're going to use
escape maneuver 1 is up. Escape maneuver 2 is down.
Well, I think escape maneuver 2 or 1 was left because
Oh, okay.
it was a hard left and everybody went right into the.
You're the guy arguing there's no up and down or right or left. Now you're sure escape maneuver 1 is left. Can't do math, can't do spelling, can't do directions. And again, a beauty shot of the ship.
So now Kirk knows that they've been had. and I guess this is that special. Is this the special? This is the special beam, right? The special weapon.
No, I think this is the phasers. This is the Enterprise shooting.
Phasers that are torpedoes or torpedoes that are phasers. They're still working that out. Yeah. And some oddly placed round objects on the bridge of the Romulan ship there. Not entirely sure what those are supposed to represent.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for.
Hold on to something.
I was thinking more of the scene in Airplane. Those are their gyroscopes. So,
Well, I think there was a deleted scene where I want to call him Sarek, but the Romulan commander is talking to his the older crew, the older guy.
Centura, yeah.
Yeah, and he says, we're going on a one-way mission to test out the new ship. We're going to cross the neutral zone. We're going to attack some of these Starfleet bases. I don't like the way my mate left me because everywhere I look, something reminds me of her. And then we fall into the divert all power to weapons. And Spock is burning the toast.
Yeah, Spock's plywood computer has spontaneously combusted. But see, that's why it's vented with a radiator decorative cover there. So the heat comes out.
No, see, that's the invisible screen. So how was he able to see that
You
it was
can't
on
see anything in
fire?
there. That's right.
You can't see it. You can't see that the fire was on.
All this technology and not a single fire extinguisher anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's the Kirk leaning over the controls. Full astern. Now that is backwards.
Full astern, yeah.
And then
That
there it is.
That could be a turn astern.
So the phasers aren't available because Spock is still fixing them.
But let's keep those log entries going. Oh, and look who
It's
shows up. I forgot.
Yeah, she gets awful cuddly snuggly with him.
This entire ship is an HR disaster. It really is. You got a out of control chief medical officer. You have a racist on the bridge, and you got these two making everyone else uncomfortable right before they die. Nice job.
Then there was another shot. I don't know if I grabbed it. So Spock gets the phasers running, and we fire upon the other ship, and I guess it goes dark.
Oh, they do have some windows there. There you go.
That is a pretty neat looking ship.
It's a great design. And can you believe that they threw this model out? That was part of the reasons that in future episodes, the Romulans are using Klingon designs because they couldn't find the original model. It got trashed and it was thrown out.
Now, do they replace it?
Oh, they do. Yeah, when we get to that episode,
Yeah.
we have one of, instead of 3 Klingon D7s, we get 2 Klingon D7s and the commander ship is one of these. So it was
Now,
it was
in
nice
the
to-
original, was it just like an all white model? It didn't have this shading on it.
Yeah, it was a typical 60s Klingon model, but they did paint birds on the bottom of them. That was the only thing that was supposed to symbolize that they were Romulan.
And now they're making a run for the neutral zone, and they're trying to set up the Enterprise as if they were attacked. So basically, he's just saying fire at will now. Just shoot.
Yeah,
and keep
they're
shooting.
well, I think it's like trying to hit something in the dark. You just keep firing patterns and hoping to hit something. Yeah, those look like torpedoes that are leaving. And again, if we go back to this submarine metaphor, the torpedoes are acting like depth charges, where you drop it, it explodes, and you hope that it does damage to a submarine nearby.
So now Kirk decides to break the neutral zone, break the treaty, and go into the neutral zone.
Not the first time, and won't be the last time he's doing this.
And this guy is pretty smart because, I mean, well, both of them are actually, because they kind of know what one another is doing. And they're going to try the old garbage in the tubes ploy.
Including his friend. I think, right, they throw the Centurion's body in there too.
Mhm.
They do,
Yes.
yeah. Now, it's kind of like, what is it, from Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
When they throw the bodies out and it hits the
The view screen, yeah.
the view screen, yeah. So Spock he's analyzing it, and he realizes it's just
Not enough.
there's really nothing that says this is a ship.
Yeah, it was the body, some metal fragments, and the broken remains of an Adirondack chair.
Yeah, my Adirondack chair. So this is the part where we've all gone silent running.
Yeah.
How long is a cycle?
Hours, maybe?
4 weeks.
28 days. Wait, wrong cycle. It could be hours. How far is a telecam? I don't know. Wait, we're doing math again. How many? If you can go 300 telecams in 20 cycles, and Roger leaves 10 to 4, never mind. We won't get into math word problems. Oh, someone's using the Force. Kirk is on that ship.
This is I don't know. Can you see that?
So they can hear?
A little.
Ear hole.
I don't know if that's an ear hole or what.
Yeah, maybe he took those wings before and stuck them on the side of his head. I saw Goldfinger. I know what you're thinking. which segues into the next shot nicely.
You know, there's a Romulan helmet that I've been thinking about.
Damn you, Timu!
And this is where this is the old pipes burst, but I don't
Drop
know.
my wrench, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is Spock reaching up. I don't know, to try and get up off the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and he hits a button, and everybody's like,
I think it was
Dun,
for his cheese dispenser.
so now we're all on heightened alert because Spock set off the signal, and they're going to attack. And the environmental systems must be down because this guy's sweating bullets. I like the reflection.
Yeah. That's because you're not wearing a helmet like the
Right,
other
you're not-
guys.
You're not wearing- and this guy's got Magneto's helmet on, so nobody can control his thoughts.
There's that helmet again in the background.
That's the other side. But, you know, you've seen one, you've seen the other.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
And now they have old style nuclear warheads. And I guess this was this trying to frighten, was this their way of saying, you know, be careful of nuclear weapons, and some kind of statement from back then?
I can't believe that it would be coincidental. It probably was. But what other weapons did they have on board? I never saw them fire a torpedo. So it's not like they can take a torpedo and make it a self-destruct device. So I guess they just, you know, stuck whatever they had excess in there. And it kind of makes me wonder, we've seen starships come very close to nuclear explosions with low shield and still be able to function just fine. So I don't know why they would think a nuclear weapon would necessarily destroy their ship, unless it was like right under the engine core, maybe.
Is it just a way of doing enough damage that they can make a break for it?
Probably. He's probably hoping to hurt him, catch him off guard by using an ancient weapon, something they weren't expecting. It would be like us taking a big keg of gunpowder, lighting the fuse, and rolling it down the hill towards an Abrams tank. Like, what is that? And then boom, you catch him off guard. You might do a little damage, or at least buy yourself some time to escape.
Right. Now, you know, that just reminded me, like, he's willing to die. He's prepared to scuttle the ship, basically.
He's a good Romulan. And Uhura's going the opposite of everybody else. Notice we're tilted this way, and she's going uphill.
And everybody, I mean, it's pretty neat the way they turned everything off.
Yeah, and the lighting is great in this shot, coming from the view screen.
Yeah. And now we're tilted the opposite way. Well, where is the bridge? Is the bridge on top or is the bridge on the bottom?
On the top.
So now we're tilted.
Everybody should be leaning back like this.
Right, and they were all going
Yep.
the wrong way. And they got 22 with that one.
And Captain Obvious now tells us what that was. Is he telling you to play dead or play dead, Jim? All right. When I saw this scene, I just thought of that scene from The Untouchables. There goes the next police commissioner. You know, when he says, "Why do you want to be a cop?" And he speaks it out. I mean, that's exactly what this reminded me of.
So the Centurion is stepping up and says he wants the honor of killing him, right?
Yeah. Oh, he used the V word. Again, how this is tolerated, and I get from a storytelling element, that's what they want, but this guy would have been weeded out with the psych exam and never would have been admitted into the academy.
Probably before, yeah, he probably wouldn't even have made it to the academy with the record of his entire family being killed. In, I don't know, would they do that?
I don't think so. I mean, Starfleet is a pretty interesting organization when it comes to accepting applications. Again, if you want to tie it into that fan theory that he's related to the other styles from Star Trek 3, maybe he had family pulling the strings. I can't believe that nepotism would be completely gone by the 23rd century. Or maybe he was just really good at hiding it.
Yeah.
Not in this episode, but you know. Right, so he's yelling, you know, this is after Styles goes down to the phaser room where they have the big switch that fires the phasers, apparently. And Spock runs in trying to avoid the Joker's purple knockout gas.
So they finally get a couple of shots off, right? And
anyone want to venture guess what direction that is? We've been having a lot of fun with that tonight.
So now we're doing now I guess this is where you could say Kirk learned the beam the survivors aboard in Star Trek 3 and they swapped out and went down to the planet.
Oh, that old trick. And this is my favorite scene in the whole episode. Just two warriors acknowledging respect for each other. And both of them, I think, genuinely wishing things could be different.
Yeah, and Nello, he points that out. He's like the character complexity of the noble opponent, the Romulan commander was just following orders and opined that he and Kirk could have been friends in a different reality. That's that is a great point. And you can see how they could have they probably would have been friends. You know,
Very much alike.
Mhm.
right. And but only in the I think in the terms of Starfleet. I don't see them hanging out with one another.
Hey
But-
Jim, you want to catch a ball game? Want to grab a couple Romulan nails? You know, no, that I don't see. But as someone you admire and someone you respect, yeah, totally.
And then we have the wrap up of Styles saying, you know, I'd be dead if it wasn't for Spock. You know, thank you. And Spock's like, whatever.
Now, do you think when Kirk and Spock leave sickbay that McCoy and Styles just rip Spock apart behind his back?
Green-blooded Vulcan.
Yeah, because again, these two guys are, you know, how do you function in this society where everybody is aliens from different cultures, different beliefs, and you're calling them a green-blooded hobgoblin?
Yeah, that's a call to HR.
So now they're telling Kirk that Tomlinson is dead and that his fiance is single again, which Kirk is thinking about with great intent.
And then we finally learn that the message we sent earlier about following the Romulans into the neutral zone comes back and says, yeah, do what you got to do, Jim. We trust you.
We got your back on this, Jim. Any way you want to handle it, we're behind you. And then we're back at the chapel.
And that looks like Michael Myers.
Every time I watch that episode, I think the same thing. And here he is, like a certain 21st century president sniffing her hair.
So she believes he died for a reason. And Kirk, I don't know, just walks off into the sunset. And that's it.
Yeah. Great episode.
Yeah, that is so far one of my favorites. Simple, you know, gets the tension up, and you learn a lot about some of these characters.
Yeah, and this is the first episode where I think we start building that bigger universe, and this is lore that sticks. Unlike last week's episode where we had all this great backstory about Kirk and the failed colony and Riley but which we never revisit again, right? And to me, that's a crying shame because that experience had to have made Kirk the man he is today. Right? That's a huge part of his life that we just conveniently never mention anymore. This, we have the Romulans, they're established, they'll be back. Again and again and again, to the point that 20 years later, after the show goes off the air, they are probably one of the main protagonists on The Next Generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And every time they showed up, it was like, okay, let's see what's going to happen, because you never really knew what their intentions were. You always knew it was bad, but you never knew exactly what their real motivations were. And that's what makes a great villain.
The mystery.
The mystery. You know, the simple fact that we got Tasha Yar in the shadows a couple of episodes before she actually made her appearance. That, to me, that's pure Romulan. That was perfect. You're like, what the hell is going on? Who is that? And that's what I love. Even with the unification episode, right? Spock goes to Romulus. He's got a friend for 80 years who turns out to be a double agent after befriending Spock for 80 years. Oh my God. See, Klingons, they don't have the patience for the long game. The Romulans, they do.
Yeah, reminds me of a few certain people. But they're playing the long game, and eventually, hopefully you catch them before the game is complete. But yeah, this is a good one. I enjoyed this one. What is next week's episode?
Let's take a quick look here.
I do it. I don't have a mouse.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry. I had it up before. I think we have another good one coming up, if memory serves. And these days I can't really vouch for memory. Let's take a look. Mine is so sluggish. So we just finished. What did we just finish? We just finished Balance of Terror. Okay, we get a bit of a change of pace next week. A bit of a palate cleanser, shall we say? With
Shore Leave.
Yeah, and the next couple episodes, where I said earlier, we see the series starting to stand on its own feet. So we have Shore Leave, followed by the Galileo 7, another great episode. The Squire of Gothos.
Ugh.
Arena.
Someone doesn't like Squire of Gothos?
If it's the one I'm thinking of.
It's a very polarizing episode. Some people love it. Some people hate it. And then we have a couple of just average ones, average to good, coming in. Space Seed is coming up towards the end.
Yes.
Yeah, in about 4 weeks, we get Space Seed. So,
Yay.
yeah. Now, John, I know you don't watch Strange New Worlds.
No.
But having watched this episode, I would highly recommend, I think it was season one, I forget what episode it is. I'll try and find it for you. They revisit this episode. And it talks about having the right man at the right time. And in this case, it is not Kirk who's in this situation. It's Chris Pike. And the ramifications of what a different captain does in the same exact scenario. When I tell you some of the dialogue is lifted word for word from this episode, to me, it was just an amazing episode. It was one of their better episodes. And I think you would find it very interesting, especially after just having watched this.
And which one are we talking about in the original?
It's this episode that we just watched.
Balance of Terror?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. The asteroids, the Romulans, all the circumstances are the same, but it's not Kirk, it's Pike. And what ramifications that has for Pike's own timeline and the timelines of the people he cares about. So definitely worth the watch. I just want to see if I can find the name of the episode.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring up Nello's Nook again. He's got another comment. Galileo 7, my worst episode. Thumbs down. Character violations. What does that mean to you, Marty?
I think some characters do things that are out of sorts, but I will chalk that up to circumstances. It's a survival story at its heart, and we also kind of get a peek at some of the Federation bureaucracy that's involved. Another one of these ambassadors who come on board and thinks they're, giving out the orders while Kirk is trying to save stranded crewmen. I enjoy that episode because it really is basically a bottle show. Takes place mostly on the planet and on the bridge. We get to see the Galileo. We get some real nice CGI redos of the Galileo and space scenes. So I'd say it's above average. Not great, but definitely above average. And the episode was heavily tinkered with too in editing. So some of the things that we were meant to see are obscured by fog that doesn't look like it should be there at all. There were some cuts made that I think suffered overall, but it's interesting to put people in situations that they're not accustomed to and see what they do. And I think all of us in our own lives have been with people who we know better than the back of our own hands, and either it's a tragedy or it's something really wonderful and they don't act the way you expect them to. So that one is pretty good. Let me just take a look here and see what the hell the name of that. I think it was the season 1 finale, John.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. Eventually we'll get there.
Let's take a look.
By the time we're 90.
Yeah. It's called The Quality of Mercy. No more numbers.
All right. Deb, what do you got coming up this week? I know there's some big happenings over at the Feast of Fandoms. What do you got coming up?
Let's see. Geek Gauntlet will be on tomorrow night at 10 Eastern. Monday, MCU Monday, we are covering the season or series finale of Agatha All Along. If you haven't watched it, great series. Let's see. Wednesday, we have War of the Stars dropping an episode. Thursday, we're back for Cantina Happy Hour. Star Wars. There's a new documentary that just dropped on Disney Plus about John Williams. We will be discussing that because he's one of my favorite composers.
Yeah, I just I started watching it before this, so
I'm going to watch it as soon as we get off.
If there's a seat open and time allots, I'd like to join you guys because he is. That was the first album I ever bought with my own money. Was the Star Wars soundtrack, the double album.
When you think about it, for people our age, he literally has been the soundtrack to our lives.
Mm.
What do you mean? This isn't your soundtrack?
I would have assumed that would be my soundtrack if I was in a coma.
Apparently, this is AI's version of a Star Trek jazz. But
it's not Andorian Blues, that's for sure.
All right, what do you got coming up other than trying to lift your arm?
Not much this week. I'm back to work on Monday. I got cleared to drive today, which was fun. And hopefully Emma got her permit, so we're gonna take her out and let her drive around a little bit. So, yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah, fun times. And that's about it, I think. I have to check with my social coordinator and see what else we've got planned. Probably going to hit the movies this weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. Connor's coming home, so we're going to try and bang out a couple of films. I know he wants to see Venom, and there's something else we were thinking about going to see.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to. There's a couple of movies on Netflix I want to catch, and I know I'm hooked on Tulsa King. So
Such a good show.
Laura and I are just about to start that. Actually, a pretty good movie on Netflix if anybody's interested. Woman of the Hour, the Anna Kendrick movie about the person who went on the dating game and won a date with the serial killer Rodney Alcala. It's a pretty good flick if you like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Before we go, actually, I just wanted to give a shout out to Terry Garr,
yes,
Star Trek alumni, Roberta Lincoln, a mainstay of the 80s, Mr. Mom, Close Encounter,
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein. I mean, between 73 and probably 85, 86, she was all over the place. Phoebe's mom on Friends, terrifically talented comic actress, and may she rest in peace.
yes. All right, thanks everybody. We appreciate everybody watching Nello's Nook. Thanks for tuning in tonight and giving us things to talk about. We will see you next time, next Friday for Shore Leave. Do they mention that this is like when Next Gen did Shore Leave? Was it because there was something that happened the week before, right? So they were all like, we're going on a holiday type of thing.
There's a reason for going on shore leave. Yeah,
Okay.
there is. Yeah.
And it's a pre-widow.
She's already dating in the next episode, so that's all I'm going to say. So I don't know how well that marriage would have worked out, but yeah. Again, to me, this is a very kind of Star Trek episode where you could almost transplant it to the Next Gen and it would still work, especially early season 1, season 2 Next Gen.
So Nello says Melinda Dillon, not Terry Garr. Well, they were both in. If you're talking about Close Encounters, weren't they both in Close Encounters?
Terry Garr was Richard Dreyfuss's wife, and Melinda Dillon was the mother of the boy who got.
Was his girlfriend?
Yes, let's just call it what it was. Yeah. His girlfriend in the second half of the movie. She had a guy for a thing who molded in mashed potatoes.
She passed earlier this year, right?
Melinda Dillon was either this year or last year. She passed away. Yeah. She wasn't in great health. That's why she skipped the Christmas Story sequel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now we have Terry Garr, Melinda Dillon, what's his name? Apollo Creed.
Carl Weathers.
Yes, Carl Weathers, who was in Close Encounters, my favorite version of Close Encounters.
Yes. He was in one of the 17 versions that are commercially available right now.
I think he was in the original.
I thought it was the extended.
No, I think it's the original because that's the only one I watch because that's what I remember seeing.
That's what you remember seeing in the theater. Sure.
Yeah, that's the one I saw in the theater, and I remember him because I spent I would watch the Close Encounters, and I'd be like, okay, hold on. I know Carl Weathers was in here somewhere. And then finally found out that they cut it for some reason. I don't know why. It's a great great little scene where he's
Yeah, he's the army, right? Army.
yeah, he's the army dude. Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, somebody else we lost too recently, and I forget who it was. But let's not make this a depressing podcast.
yeah, that's for the last one of the year.
Oh, we're
We'll
gonna
go
have an
through-
in memoriam segment.
Yeah, yeah. And do we
We'll
know
just
if
put mathematical equations.
yeah? So we'll see you guys next week for Federation Friday.
Riding on that Enterprise, Kirk at the helm.
Oh yeah!
Sparks logic, cool as ice. McCoy overwhelmed. Be myself, Scotty. Let's explore the unknown. Every Friday night, we're in a Star Trek zone. Federation Friday. Let's review the show.
This feels like it fell out of the soundtrack of Car Wash. I love it. And again, with all these topical references, we're really going to get the youngsters watching.
Yeah,
this,
working at the shuttle wash. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining in. Live long and prosper, and don't forget to tune in to Feast of Fandoms every day. They have something going on every day,
Pretty much.
and we weren't invited to the party, so we will. We'll see you soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Peace.
We're trekkers, our friends, forever explore. Federation Friday, let's review the show. From the bridge to the stars, won't drive it full blast. Discussing every mission, revisiting the past. Live long and prosper, each episode's a ride. From Vulcan to